So, we've made it to the penultimate round, and the driver's title has already been decided in the field of Spinala. However, there's still one more thing that has to be settled, and that's who battles for second in the Constructors Championship. Because right now, that's a race to the finish between Ferrari and Bennetton, who are looking poised to take second place from Minardi if they continue to miss their race appearances like this. And considering how close these two teams have been, it's gonna be a title fight all the way down to Vegas. Well, not necessarily a title fight, but rather a battle for second. And now we bring ourselves to the track too tough for race mode with the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort. This is a very twisty track with a lot of difficult curbs, but I can imagine, considering how tough these drivers are, that it's going to be something that they very used to handling. Oh, over to my second commentator, Cupcake.
Good afternoon, everybody, as well from here, as we ride on with Dungeon lap now, around turn 1000.
Okay, so wait, I don't know if you missed that, but...
Absolutely flying.
Okay, I don't know if you missed that, but Beastama just had a massive slide. I think he's on an outlap, though, so it didn't affect much, but, man, it made for quite the sight. Anyway.
Yes, but at this moment in time, it's Dungeon and Beastama, two teammates who are in the low 109s. You have, Hello, it is also in the low 109s, but Mushy now slides in there with a Ferrari. Great lap from him.
And it's an incredible
it's
an incredible time for Mushy, considering that is going to be trivial in his battle to bring Ferrari up in the constructor standings, because if you remember, now, they were absolutely
give me a second, but can I interrupt you? Dungeons on a double purple. Is he gonna make it triple purple to extend it into the 108? What is it gonna be? It's a 108.6 for Dungeon, the first of them to get into the 108.
Yeah,
now Mushy drives around back.
Yeah,
Dungeon is absolutely rapid this weekend. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, a really solid time to pip Dungeon onto pole position. However, that last sector was a little lackluster compared to his usual pace. But still, two purple sectors are absolutely nothing to scoff at. Very much gives me the vibes of Valtteri Bottas in 2021. However, this time he wasn't told to lift for the team, you know?
I love the reference, mate. But, you know, if you look at Mushy's time, Mushy's, who's got a green third sector for his last lap, he's only 30 thousandths of a second ahead of Dungeon in the final sector. You know, he's going to start again his next lap.
I'll figure that out for you. We actually don't know. It doesn't let me spectate it auto. There's no way for me to figure out. Oh, and it's a... Hold on, was that on... Hold on, who just set the time? I'm looking through. I think it... Oh yeah, it was the McLaren of Super Mega Monkey who just set a pretty nice 109. That brings the McLaren driver up to 109. They've always shown themselves to be a pretty decent talent, but they've never been able to properly battle up at the top. As right now, in this... this safety car is insane. But right now, at the top of this session...
This safety car needs to be fired.
Yeah, at the top of the session, it's currently the Tyrrells that have been bouncing back to basically be dominating this qualifying session, especially with a really solid lap time for Dungeon.
Can I just interrupt you right there? You're saying they're passing by, but you've got System in P7 right now. It's kind of hilarious, I can tell. System car. Yeah, you know, he hits his best lap he'll ever do. He can't get much faster. He's in System outperform his car once in a while.
Otto, how could you say that?
Oh, Otto, come on, man. I thought you were better than that.
Oh, we all love a good hashtag joke here.
And he's literally absolutely about to crash.
Okay, in the crucial battle for the construct. Oh, and there's a crash! There's been a crash from the Bennetton driver of Helena. That is going to be terrible for the constructors battle that Bennetton have right now, because as it stands,
that
they're
is a locked P6.
Yeah, they're going to be locked at
P6.
They're going to be locked at P6 for the start of the race, and of course, naturally it would happen. Naturally, it would happen the second I start spectating them. Hell and I wasn't even on a particularly fast lap when it happened, but man, that is just insult to injury for the team who are fighting their rivals who are currently on the front row. And Mushy Cookie has now been given one more opportunity to try and improve their lap time enough to take a bite out of pole position. But are they going to have the precision to pull this off with only one flying lap to go? Okay, Busy B-Dog certainly isn't going to be busy after he has a word from Arto after this. But still, can Mushy Cookie try and find enough speed in the high-speed sectors of Zandvoort? Coming for the first sector, it's not his best sector, but it's still pretty good with
it's slurred in dungeon.
Dead.
It's slurred in dungeon though. But the important thing is slurred in dungeon, who's currently on provisional pole, and it's gonna absolutely be crucial that he gets that pole if he wants to fight the Bennetton.
Mushy Cookie has a little bit of a slide, and presumably that's going to kill his fast lap chances unless he tries to have a word with it in the very last sector or the very last lap.
But if I think about it, technically he's got time. If he keeps going now, like at this moment, he's gonna have time to do 2 more laps. There's a lap around here is like 110. And now
Mushy Cookie's rolling the dice. He's going for a box to see if he can get to the next fast lap while cutting through the track.
And
it's going to be extremely tight.
Dungeon does not improve on his lap. He's 2 tenths off, and now everybody's gonna be back in the pits and getting ready to go around.
Mushy Cookie is doing the old race mode strat where he backs up. Oh, and it's an incredible lap time from Superman Mega Monkey, who brings himself onto the front row. Where
has that come from?
Now it's a front row start between both the Tyrrells and the Minardis. But now Mushy Cookie is in a true battle against time. He does an incredible wallbang to flip himself over, but is it going to be enough to give him one more attempt? This is going to come down to the wire. I think he has just enough time to start one more attempt.
Yeah, he has it.
It was an incredible turnaround from Mushy Cookie. What a technique! That crash to bring him around was perfect as he brings himself to 1 minute with 5 seconds to spare.
Now Dungeon, who is still P1, the 2 Tyrrells who were P1 and P3 are now P1 and P5. But B-Saber is on his lap now, but he's not improved. He's got an invalidated sector 1. It's not going to count. He is P5. B-Saber into the pits. That is the end of this qualifying. As Illinois, along with system failure. But now we look on to Mushy into.
Can I do this last bit? Cutting over to Mushy Cookie. It's a relatively promising first sector, despite it being yellow, as that is still relatively quick in terms of the times for the rest of the. Oh, and it's a track limit! He cut a track limit at the second sector, and that right there will end Mushy Cookie. That right there will end Mushy Cookie's chances of finishing on the front row. Out of curiosity, though, if he didn't clip. Wait, no, Super Mega Monkey. I'm sorry, I got it confused with Mega Monkey. Is it going to be enough for Mushy Cookie to jump up the order? Yes, it is! It's by a very thin margin, but Mushy Cookie jumps ahead of Super Mega Monkey and brings himself back onto the front row. But after that insane flying lap, Dungeon Fanatics brings himself into pole, and he stays there. Wait, hang on. Wait. I've got to pause you right there. It seems that we've got a major twist coming here, because there's been a lot of confusion between the point scoring of both Minardi and Tyrrell. But I think we found this. We found the source of it, because Dungeon this whole time didn't know that the Tyrrell was the Tyrrell. He thought it was the Minardi. That explains so much confusion when it comes to the points. Because if you remember, before, if you remember before,
no, I was asking, I was asking myself, well, how did Tyrrell so fast? I was like, that has not happened.
Yeah,
It's not normal.
That's hilarious.
Unbelievable.
Alright then, so we wait for the lights to go out, or I can't particularly see them because this spectating camera is brilliant.
You just hear the end, you hear it.
But the engines are roaring with the but the end. Hold on. No, I still can't hear it. But
and they are revving it up to 11,000, more than 11,000.
And he lights out, and away we go! And Dungeon Fanatics gets a particularly good launch, but as does Mushy. Do any of the bang markers respond really correctly? Yes, he does! Mushy has made quite the jump in the field, but in the midst of all of it, Dungeon Fanatics has one hell of a launch. It's the Minardi and the Ferrari right next to each other, as both of the McLarens of both Spinala and Egg Monkey are now in unison together, as now this Constructors Battle comes down to if Dungeon can keep things, and there's already been a spin! The championship winner of Spinala has spun out on one of the first couple laps! If the championship leader spinning out this early on doesn't say something about Zandvoort's difficulty, I don't know what does.
Mushy leads this race. Hold on. I have a question on you. The Mushy takes the lead, but there's already a little bit of a spin, and now he loses just a little bit more of that margin that he gained from Dungeon Fanatics, as... Oh my god! It's disaster for the Ferrari team as Dungeon as Mushy bends it into a wall and falls down the order. There's already been so much chaos on the first lap, and by that aforementioned first lap, Dungeon Fanatics is now leading by a second and a half. That right there has to be the most airtime I've ever seen gained in a league race. That is... Okay, over to you, Cookie. Over to you, Muffin. Over to you. You jump in the middle of everything every single time, but the second I say over to you, you can't suffice. But I'm like, Hell and I, who, if you remember, just barely lost out on a race win due to a charging Mushy Cookie, has now brought himself into second place, but there are questions as to whether he's going to be able to hold on to it, as Dungeon is absolutely blitzing the field right now. It's obvious that he has quite a lot of experience in Zandvoort, and that is really starting to pay off for the Polish driver. The rest of the field are very tightly packed together, as the Minardi of Beastava is clawing his own way through the pack, and this is going to be fantastic for Minardi's Constructors Battle, considering that they are currently closest rivals with Bennetton. However, as we've seen before, it only takes one mistake to completely undo all of the progress that they've made. And we saw it beforehand with Mushy Cookie. He tapped the wall, he's fallen down to 7th, and now the Ferrari team have a lot of ground to make up. But cutting into the front, Dungeon Fanatic sets another purple first sector, and he is in a league of his own right now, completely washing the competition and showing them how it's done in that Minardi. Of course, if he does pull off a race win, it will be his second race win for this league overall, as he did also win in Hockenheim. And it will also surely be the turning point where Minardi secures second place in the Constructors Battle. There's been an overtake as well, as Helena gets overcut by Spinala, and wait, no, not overcut, just generally overtaken. I got my terminologies mixed up. And now, it's second in the race for the McLaren team. They currently don't really have any battles to fight, because they only need to get a few more points in general to secure the Constructors' title, as this is mainly a battle for second. However, they're, I feel like, mainly just there to make a point, because if Spinala can make a comeback at this race, that's going to say everything that the rest of the field need to know about him. Hold on a second.
Okay, no more secondary commentator. The cupcake has vanished. Alright, guess I'm back on my own then. Okay, Spinala is still keeping himself relatively consistent. Heleni is actually starting to drop his pace down to Beastava, who's slowly finding piece by piece to try and climb forward. Can the Minardi get past the Bennetton? It's looking like the answer's going to be an emphatic yes, although they are still very much close at this particular moment. Beastava just needs a better entry into this next corner. There's a tiny bit of a spin there, and Beastava has had his progress undone from that minor mistake there. He's going to have to build the rest of that up, or is he? Because it's an incredible curve there from Beastava, who manages his momentum brilliantly and just about cuts into third place. What a move from the Minardi driver. Jumping up the field once again, Spinala is starting to take out small chunks out of Dungeon's lead. However, he does bring back a little bit of it in the first sector for this race. Dungeon currently has everything to gain and everything to lose at the same time. I didn't really think too much when I started saying that. And he is doing a really good job at keeping himself clean and out of trouble, especially considering how technical of a track Zandvoort is. And now, both Heleni and Beastava meet themselves at the main straight again, as it's currently a major battle between both the Bennetton and the Minardi team for that last spot on the podium. Will it be a double podium for the Minardis? We'll just have to wait and see. Beastava controls his momentum beautifully while chasing the previous runner-up. Will he be able to have more momentum at the main curve? Not quite. It's seeming like Heleni is going to be able to keep the position from here if he can keep this pace clean, as he flies through the field and starts to add more of a gap to Beastava. However, at the same time, Dungeon has been lapping like a legend, bringing himself over a second faster than when we last checked in on Spinala. Dungeon looks entirely poised to take the win for this race. Going back down the rest of the field, Mushy Cookie now has to go on an absolute charge, as he, even though he was leading the group beforehand, tapped the wall and ended up flying, which is fair considering how difficult of a stage Zandvoort is. There's a little bit of a spin from Mushy. He almost taps the wall again. It was an incredible save from him. However, that's going to put a dent in Ferrari's Constructors' chances. He really needs to clean up his act if he wants to try and give the team a chance. Spinala actually sets an incredible final sector for the first lap. It's not quite a faster sector, but it does bring him closer to Dungeon, and Dungeon responds with a monstrous 18.3 in the first sector, which Spinala begins to lose time from him for once again. All laws of the universe should ideally say that the Dungeon should be playing it safer here, but that's not what he thinks. The pole finds fastest sectors wherever he can. He goes, oh, there's a little bit of time I can save here. Bring it as close to the sausage curb as possible. I don't care if the car spins out. I will be getting that extra speed. And that right there, that is how you drive to the absolute limit in this league. Yeah, and Spinala just starts losing more and more sections to him as Dungeon builds up even more of a gap. Hold on, it's neck and neck once again between the Bennetton and the Minardi of both Heleni and Beastava. They have been neck and neck for God knows how long now. There's a slight bit of a lockup from Heleni. Now they're equal again. Who's going to be faster going into the main curve? And it's a spin from the Bennetton and another spin from the Minardi. What is happening? When one of them make a mistake, another one returns the favor. It is consistently neck and neck between these two. I don't know who to call into the lead, because like you saw that, right? That was synchronized. But that right there isn't even close to being synchronized choking, as the battle finally ends with a spin from the Bennetton of Heleni, with the Minardi of Beastava pulling into third place. And now it's starting to look like Minardi are going to get their double podium. Let's get back to to Dungeon Fanatics now. He has been doing an absurd hold on. There's been a massive fall down. Oh yeah, from Hell and I. And now, Hell and I actually fall so far back from that mistake that he allows Mushy Cookie to get more speed into that curve and take the position from him, considering that Ferrari driver is on a charge right now, with a goal that is far out of the Bennetton's reach, as the Bennetton goes into box to replace his tyres early on. That could be an inspired choice if something happens to the weather, although I'm not particularly sure, as I haven't checked the broadcast myself. So if you haven't been checking that, don't take that as gospel, friends. Don't take that as gospel. Spinala actually gets a very close sector to Dungeon, but Dungeon still continues to pull themselves further away. Hell and I is now on a charge of his own to see if he can get back at it. And it's another mistake from Mushy Cookie! It's a spin once more, but it's also a spin from system failure! What kind of synchronized choking insanity is this? One person makes a mistake, another person ahead goes for it as well, and in the midst of all the chaos, the Sauber of Rayon finds himself ahead of Beastiver, cutting into the podium spots. What is happening? What is happening? I focus on someone for 1 second and they immediately spin out. What kind of Project A-Specs esports Sochi ass race is this? Oh my god. Watch this. I'm going to cut to Mushy and he's going to immediately slide again. No, he's going to box. Fair enough. That could be an inspired choice for him once again to box that early. Oh my god. So yeah, after all that chaos, the Sauber's chances for a podiums are soured the second I start noticing it. Typical stuff. Typical stuff. For a second, I thought he spun again. That would have brought me to my knees. What the hell? After that major mistake from the Sauber, the Bennetton from Hell and I is looking to try and take back the position that was took from them. Actually, no, that's Alan Walker. Never mind. You see why I get confused though? Like, seriously, what? Right, fine, I'll stream it. Jesus, if the reflection from what's happening ends up killing it, then. Or rather, if the frames drop too much. Whatever. Okay, there we go. Apologies. Hold on! It's a red sector for Dungeon! Dungeon cut too many track limits! Dungeon is now going to lose a lot of time to those few major mistakes, and I feel like that's going to close the gap quite a bit for Spinala, who... Gods, I'm begging you right now, don't make the unrunners start spinning again, because like I don't get it. Why is Commentator's Curse out to kill me at this race in particular? Wait, yeah, it's 2 red sectors for Dungeon. Dungeon is cutting corner after corner, and there doesn't seem to be a consistent reason why. But now, okay, this is quite the sight. Wait, Mushy Cookie's out of the race! Mushy Cookie clipped his wheel on the side of the wall, and things go from bad to worse for the Ferrari team. Although, miraculously, the auto stop hasn't kicked in, and Mushy Cookie is still trying to drag the car to the end with only 3 wheels. Who does he think he is? Sebastian Vettel in Australia? Oh my word. This is absolutely inspired from the New Zealand driver, and it really says everything you need to know about him. If you give him any opportunity to even get close to a race win, he will take it. Even if that means driving with only 3 wheels. My god, this is incredible. Oh, and it's... What is happening? I spectate Rayon for like a split second, not even commentating him, and then... Do I have, like, the gun camera from Cars 2 or something? And now Dungeon, only moments away from lapping the now three-wheeled Mushy Cookie. That's not Mushy's battle to fight today, but my god, that makes for quite the visual. This race is total chaos. I knew that Zandvoort would make for a good league racing track. Oh, and it's a spin from Dungeon, but he recovers it beautifully. What a recovery! And it's another spin recovery, and he finds himself stuck under the curb. I better keep my camera on Dungeon. Oh my god. Oh. Normally I don't say anything just to bring my breath back, but right now I am quite literally speechless. We are only halfway through this race, and already we've seen this much chaos. As now Dungeon pulling in to box, which if Spinala stays out will give him the temporary lead, and Spinala doesn't decide to stay out. He brings himself into a box. I'm fairly certain that Beastiver boxed earlier. If he didn't, then he'll likely come in the box now. Nope, Beastiver stays out, and that gives the second Minardi driver a chance to baton pass themselves the lead. But they don't quite, as Dungeon Fanatics is just a little bit too far ahead for that to happen. But now it's a 1-2 for the Minardi team, as the McLaren team are in hot pursuit. System failure for the Tyrrell team has also been doing a decent job. He finds himself in the 4th place, and it's a crash from Super Mega! What is happening? What is going on? It's a... I've lost the words! What is going... You saw that, right? I spectated on fucking Super Mega Monkey, and then Dungeon spins out on the camera, and then seconds later his teammates Beastifer spins. What? Oh, I think I found my new favorite race, and we're not even done. Oh my god. Okay, but now, after all of that chaos, Beastiver comes into box, and it's System Failure who's lit... Wait, no, it's still Dungeon. It's still Dungeon. No, never mind. But that was also an incredible last sector from Spinala. He doesn't take the fastest lap, but he does take the fastest last sector, and Spinala immediately... What is happening? Okay, Helena, after all of that, takes back second place for the Bennetton team. If he didn't have that mistake earlier, then he may have very well been leading the... And I don't even know if Dungeon made a mistake there. Probably not, because that was a purple sector. And Helena takes it really wide. He locks up the wheels, and now that gives Spinala the opportunity to take second place from both System Failure and Helena, the McLaren driver, on the charge once again after cutting the track limits once more. Honestly, everyone here have been making so many mistakes that Dungeon would probably be able to win if he just coasts, but we all know that's not exactly the way he rolls. And Mushy's still driving! What is happening? Okay. It's another fastest final sector for Spinala. He has been killing it in those moments, and considering that he needs far more pace to try and catch up to the Minardi, he's gonna need those fastest sectors. And Spinala makes it green in the first sector. It's not quite faster than Dungeon, which should probably say a lot about his pace, but it's still brilliant for him. Hell and I, on hot pursuit just behind him, and you know what, I swear, by the end of this race, I'm gonna turn into Charles Leclerc when he said, "I don't think anymore now. I have stopped thinking a long time ago." Oh, and it's another recovered spin from Dungeon Fanatics. That right there could have been disaster for the Minardi team if they weren't able to control it. But Dungeon keeps himself consistent, he keeps his cool, and he finds himself still in the lead with only a minor mistake, and he only drops about a second out of his 9-second gap to Spinala after that minor mistake. However, Spinala did pick up another track limit, so if Dungeon can keep it consistent, he's still looking to be in a very good spot for all of this. Helena actually has a really nice curve over there. Look at that. Okay, it's a green sector from Beastava, but he's not faster than Dungeon's yellow sector. That really says a lot for how good Dungeon is in the first sector. Both of these drivers, baton passing, mistake after mistake after mistake. So, I'm going to be honest, despite Dungeon's lead, I actually don't know who's going to win this. Considering the frequency of the mistakes in this race, it is anybody's game. Dungeon also manages to kind of track limit as well. He brings it a little bit tight to that corner, but he keeps the car stable. Beastava finds another bit of speed in that next sector, keeps things very clean indeed, and he's just generally been trying to take a bit more of a safe approach, banking on Dungeon making a major mistake. System failure. He jams the steering a little bit and almost brings himself into the wall, as now he's being challenged by the front wingless Ferrari driver of Facemen, who, if you remember back in Baku, scored multiple points for the Ferrari team before Mushy Cookie arrived, while driving the majority of the race without a front wing. Hold on. Well, actually, he does have a front wing now. I just couldn't see it beforehand. That was my bad. Oh, there's a spin from Alan Walker. That's going to be a disaster for the Minardi team. But fortunately, there's no one to challenge themselves with other than themselves. So they're likely not going to lose any points from that little blunder. But Beastava, hold on. There's not really much to talk about right now, so I'm just going to take a bit of a break. Stay hydrated, kids. Dehydrated. Hold on, it's a purple sector in the first lap for Rayon programming. The Sauber driver getting the fastest first sector out of absolutely nowhere. Where did that come from? Could the Sauber driver of Rayon suddenly gun for the fastest lap in the midst of all of this chaos? He's going to have to seriously focus if he wants to try and pull this off. Tight sector after tight sector. This is a Sir Alba potentially mingling with the gods. It's a 29-0 and a green sector for them. They just need to keep things clean, and they've got the fastest lap off of Dungeon. Will they be able to bring it all the way? It's some amazing control in the final sector. Does Rayon steal the fastest lap from Dungeon in this potentially insane shock? It's gonna be close. Where does Rayon finish? It's a 109. It's an incredible fast lap, which brings him to the third fastest lap of the race, but it's still not quite enough to dethrone Dungeon. Still, what an incredible oddity from the Sauber driver. He's probably going to be very proud of himself after gunning it all the way up to there. Bravo! Bravo! That's an even faster lap than the championship leader. Where did that come from? Yeah, there is so much chaos in there. Oh, and Spinala recovers another potential huge crash. Honestly, the front two have been experiencing recovered spin after recovered spin, and it's really difficult to tell who has the better consistency out of them after all of these mistakes. Dungeon locking up a little bit going into that curve, but he's able to keep the car stable after such a unstable curve. Honestly, very impressive coming from him. And I love how throughout all of this, Mushy is still determined to try and finish the race with only 3 wheels. It's gonna get Ferrari 2 points in the process, and I feel, oh brother, any points. At this point, Arta was just, they've had enough of this shit. Oh, boy. Okay, alright. Oh, and it's a bit of a spin from Dungeon! But again, he recovers it really nicely, and that's only going to lead to about a second worth of lost time. But if he keeps losing these small sectors, then Spinala may have a chance to catch up by the end of the race. As even though we do only have about 7 laps to go, this is still anyone's game. Arto is still very pissed off. But at this point, I think we should just let him have it. He only has 3 wheels, and he's just happy to be here. There aren't even collisions in this game anyway. Like, wow. Wow. That's quite the sight, isn't it? Okay, not much is going on right now, so I've kept myself relatively quiet. Just like the broadcast used to be back then. Okay, flicking through the sectors. Nobody's on a particularly fast lap. But wait, AV... No, AV's out of the race. Hold on. Oh, and it's a massive spin from Spinala. He's not able to recover it here, but that is going to be a huge time sink for him that will give Dungeon definitely more of an advantage. That one I feel like was a pretty crucial one for the race, as now Dungeon pulls ahead to well higher than a 10-second gap. Trust me, it'll happen in the next sector. You guys just haven't seen it yet. Especially considering Dungeon kept things clean for that lap. There is a bit of a lockup from him as well, but yeah. Oh, and it's another major spin from Dungeon. I think no, he didn't hit track limits, but like I said, both of them trading mistakes with one another. It is impossible to tell who's going to win from here, even though Dungeon seems poised to take it, specifically because of that. And it's a 20 for the first sector as Spinala cuts out 2 seconds in an instant. The McLaren is only getting closer and closer, and it's another spin from Dungeon, as now, in an instant, Spinala now has a chance to potentially take a race win if he can keep things clean, as now, Dungeon is now within a few seconds of Spinala, and he's about to lose the lead as well. Spinala does a Spinala, and it's into the wall! Spinala has so much more to recover now after potentially sniffing the source of a victory, and now he has so much more to climb out of. But if anything, that's proving that Dungeon isn't invincible. Even after such a major mistake from Spinala, we still don't have a definitive winner on the table, even after the progress from everyone was essentially reset. So yeah, Dungeon back to about a 9-second gap right after Spinala starting to catch up. But like I said, that's exactly why we can't call a winner now. And I feel like at this point, Mushy Cookie has had enough as he pulls over. Okay, Spinala keeps things relatively controlled for that sector, and he's gonna need it if he wants to try and potentially battle Dungeon. Because like we've seen before, Dungeon isn't exactly invincible. He can still potentially make a major mistake. He almost has a spin there, but he keeps things relatively clean. And will Spinala make a mistake? Yes, he will! Spinala brings it into a massive spin for that curve, and I feel like at this point, that's the tipping point. There's no feasible way that Dungeon Fanatics could drop enough time for Spinala to make a lunge for the win now, unless he crashes. If Dungeon makes a crash, and Spinala has won, but outside of that, he can just cruise. Hell, I even feel like a potential for a free pit stop could be on the table if Spinala makes another mistake. That'd give Dungeon more room to work with. Oh yeah, definitely another pit stop's on the table. Well, like wow. And now the gap has increased to a monumental 17 seconds after those last couple mistakes from Spinala. And now all Dungeon has to do is cruise that Minardi home. And he has a little bit of a spin, but he recovers it beautifully. That right there is how you control a spin. And he does it again. Dungeon, the master of preventing catastrophes, and I feel like that right there is what's given him the win today. As if you compare it to Spinala, it's night and day. Now, we're approaching the penultimate lap with Dungeon still leading the race with a major lead right there. Another spin that he has insane control over. Dungeon somehow has made multiple major saves in these last couple laps, and yeah, at this point he could absolutely just take a pit stop and then fly off at the last lap. Wouldn't that be funny? Hold on a minute, Spinala is actually bleeding so much time that now Beastava is starting to catch up, and Heleni hasn't gone anywhere throughout all of this, as the Minardi and the Bennetton have been juking it out for so long now, and they're still fighting for the podium. Who's gonna be on the? Who's gonna take that last spot? Beastava has a little bit of a slip, so now Heleni has been given an open door to try and take it. But they could even potentially battle for second if Spinala makes another major mistake. And he does! Spinala spins out once again. The commentator's cursor struck once more, and now Heleni darts it into second place. A repeat second for the Bennetton driver if he can keep things clean in these final laps. And it could also be a potential Minardi 1-2 to seal their second place in this Constructors Battle, as Ferrari are scoring very little points in this race, as Dungeon is pulling further and further away, as we now move on to the final lap with the Bennetton of Heleni darting it into the lead. Well, not the lead, but and Spinala spins again. How has he been making so many mistakes? This is absurd. But now Heleni with a relatively large gap. What is happening? Okay, Dungeon makes another mistake, but he's so far ahead now that he could pit on the final lap and he'd still have a chance to make a win. And now, over a curve ahead, Heleni is darting forward for the Bennetton team to potentially keep their championship hopes alive. But they'll need a miracle in this final race unless Dungeon makes a major crash. And now System Failure darts it into fourth, really kicking Spinala when he's down. But throughout all of this chaos, there has been one man who has been controlling and dominating the race, while everyone else has been running around like a headless chicken. It's been his consistency and his incredible saves that have brought him to a second win in AR03, as darting through the final corner for the Minardi team, Dungeon wins the Dutch Grand Prix, and now, just moments away from taking another second place, Heleni goes through the last curve and gets an incredible second place finish for the Bennetton team. He has clawed his way through hell and back and been through probably every possible spot that you could be in, but he prevents the Minardi 1-2 as Beastava finishes in the podiums for I think that might be the first time. Let me check the results. Is that the first time Beastava's finished in the podiums or not? That right there is what you call a race. Spinala finishes in 5th after all of the chaos, but he doesn't need any more or insane results after this. Rayon comes in 6th, and just behind him is the Sauber of Alan Orca. But just for a moment, let's remember Rayon's incredible fast lap that he had out of nowhere in the middle of the race. Where did that come from? And now, determined to finish the race with only 3 wheels to bag Ferrari just a few more points, Mushy Cookie crosses the line with only 3 wheels on his car. The game should have told him to stop, the mechanics should have told him to stop, but he did not. He clawed that to the finish when he had no right to do so. That was incredible. Hey, Dungeon. So Dungeon. A lot of people probably know that you and I don't get along the best, but I will always admit when a driver I'm not the biggest fan of has an incredible drive, and I will always be 100% honest with that. So, Dungeon, how do you think you got the win today?
Just pace.
To be honestly, yeah, I feel like it was more so due to you keeping your head straight while everyone else kept on spinning. Hello, Mushy. Hello, Mushy. So, yeah, considering that you and the rest of the Minardi team had a 1-3 finish, do you think that is going to be enough to secure the Constructors title for Minardi going into Vegas?
I think I can win in Vegas again.
All right then, giving pretty quick and concise answers.
Yeah.
And I did not know that was an animation. That is incredible. I am buying that the second I can. And lastly, if there's anything that you have to if there's anything that you have to say to the viewers for the final race, what would you say directly to them?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've kind of run out of questions, but yeah, it was an incredible drive from you, Dungeon, and we'll see you in Vegas. Okay, he's on the stage now. Hell and I, it was another incredible drive from you to secure second place. What do you think? What do you think got you the podium today? Okay, could you repeat that again? I couldn't hear you over the engines.
So I was driving the car. That's how I got P2.
Nice. I'm loving these concise interviews. So there's only one race to go, and you have shown yourself to consistently be quite the force when it comes to finishing near the front. Do you think you could get the Bennetton team a win in the final race?
Let's see. I'm not sure.
All right, and finally, before we move on to Mushy, if there's anything that you would like to say to the rest of the audience, I don't know. I've run out of questions. Just say it, I guess.
I would say to the rest of the drivers, just back off a little and let me win the next race.
Ooh, very much Alonso core from 2007. I like it. We actually have a bit of a surprise interview from Mushy, as he really wants to bring himself up to the pack. So Mushy, first question: do you think you had the facilities to bring yourself to a race win if you were able to keep the car clean in the early stages of the race?
I mean, P2 probably. I mean, I took flight on the first lap. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I saw that. I definitely saw that. Yeah.
But no, I think Dungeon would have had me anyway. I think I would have got P2, P3.
All right then. Another thing. What compelled you to drive the entire race with 3 wheels the second you realized you weren't booted? Because that right there, I feel like, is gonna be like the main thing that people remember from this race.
I mean, hey man, you dedication. You drive a race car, you got to finish. Like, come on, if the car still drives, I'm still gonna try and finish the race, you know. And that's what I did. So it was quite painful, but I did it anyway. I ended up. I think I ended up 6 laps down at the end. But yeah, you know, if the car still drives, I'm gonna finish the race. You know.
It was quite funny when Arto was screaming his head off about blue flags. So yeah.
Oh yeah, blue flag.
So
it was funny about blue flags though, because I was going so slow. I don't think blue flags like affected anything.
Okay then. So for the last question, Ferrari are now mathematically out of contention for taking second in the constructors. But do you think they still have the facilities to take third with only 1 race to go?
Uh, I mean, I'm good at Vegas, but then I also have quite a lot of bad luck at Vegas, so I don't
Isn't
know.
that
We'll
ironic?
we'll, we'll have to see next week.
All right then. All right then. Thank you for your time. Okay then. So a bit of an odd race for the reigning champion. Do you think there like to be a lot of moments where you seem to have the race in the bag, but due to some lacking of damage control, it just kind of slipped away. Do you have anything to comment on that?
Well, to be honest, it was just a shit show. I underestimated the amount of rear tire deg you'd get in Zandvoort. I've run Zandvoort a few times with the 2003 car. It's only really now that I've experienced so much rear sliding. I think it's because I've changed the way I drove a bit. Now I'm a bit more aggressive with the rear, sort of trying to slide it a bit to get more rotation. It reduces the amount of understeer you get, but I guess on this track it really fucks up your rear tire. I should have done what Helen and I did and do a two stop. I think if I did that and Dungeon did a one stop, I still could have won the race. But yeah, I tried to stick with a one stop, but it was just a disaster. At the end, I had zero pace. I couldn't even catch up with system or anyone. I had like so little rear grip. I was at basically 50% on the rear tires. I think it was a miracle I even finished the race like at all, because holy shit, the car was out of control.
Okay, so another thing, with the result of you finishing fifth and no one else finishing on the line, Minardi still actually do have a slim chance of winning the constructors championship if they have another incredible result at Vegas. Do you think they have the potential cards to pull that off?
Well, no, I don't doubt Minardi's abilities. Especially Beast and Dungeon are both very strong drivers. I know that for sure. But I feel like as long as our two drivers, like me and Honcho, finish in Las Vegas, which is easier said than done, but then I think we still have the championship in the bag. And there's no telling who will crash in Las Vegas, especially when they're saying it's gonna be crazy weather. Um, I tend to have good luck in Las Vegas. I think in PARC I got my best finish of like a sixth, just because everyone in front of me like crashed out or had like a damage. So I'm just gonna try to keep it clean in Las Vegas. It's not a track where you slide a lot. It doesn't have that much degradation compared to Zandvoort. So it's just about not hitting walls.
So then, as one last thing to say before we close out the interviews, do you have anything to say either to the viewers regarding what we may potentially see in Vegas?
Just get ready because it's gonna get wet and wild.
It's been a dream race for the Minardi team as they bring it into a double podium, while Ferrari have multiple crashes on the field with only one of their cars finishing. I am pretty sure. And that right there, after a less than stellar result from McLaren, brings Minardi back into the constructors title bout. And will they be able to take it? Well, there's only one race to go. See you all in Vegas!